Okay, y'all. It is the test review time. It's not really a test, it's a quiz, but so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take a minute and I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna go through and I'm gonna show you how to do this on Desmos. You guys are already, there's a link to a Desmos quiz on your Google Classroom, and it's only 3 questions, so you should be fine. But do want to make sure that you can kind of see it. This is nothing that we haven't done already. But if you give me a second, I'm going to share my screen and show you where we are at. All right, I've got it over here. So this is the sort of things. This is the sort of thing that you're going to be doing. And the way that you're going to be going through it. So this first thing asks you solving a system of equations with substitution. And this looks just like the ones that we've been doing, but I've been doing it by hand, and I want to show you how to use what we have on here to kind of set this up. So since we're solving this system of equations with substitutions, we're going to start off with the 2 equations and say, okay, now look, I've got y equals 3x plus 10, and I've got y equals negative 2x minus 5. So the first thing that I need to do is get on here and write an equation that has the 2 of them with the y's equal. So I'm going to take this 3x plus 10 and put it where this y is. So I'm going to go 3x plus 10, and I'm going to do a little bit of space. You can do spaces in here. So 3x plus 10 equals negative 2x minus 5. Now, oops, you see how I have there in the middle that plus? It's not what I want. I want an equal sign, and sometimes pluses and equals get screwed up a little bit. Now, do note that there is a negative 2x, okay? Because I want to make sure that that is something that we can take care of and write it here. You don't want to miss that and use a positive 2x. Okay, so that's line 1. Now, I have it set up and it's all in terms of x. So what I've got to do next is put the x's on the same side. So I look at these 2. I find the smaller of the 2 of them. I've got 3x here and I've got negative 2x here. So this negative 2x is clearly smaller than that 3x. I've got to cancel out that negative 2x. So I'm going to hit a return, and I'm going to have to get rid of that negative 2x by doing a plus 2x, so that I'm going to have a positive and negative of the same thing. Now, here's the thing, though. I know that if I have it there, I've also got to have one on this side underneath this x. So I'm going to do one there as well, a plus 2x. Now, I kind of screwed up the lining up of this one, so let me back this up a little bit with some deletes. Got them directly below there, so these 2 and these 2 line up. Now, let's see what's going to happen. So we have 3x plus 2x, that will be 5x. We have that 10, so I'm going to do plus 10. There's my equal sign. Space there. Now, the negative 2x and the positive 2x, when I put those together, they become a 0 pair and they're gone. So that is going to equal to negative 5. All right, cool. So far, so good. We got rid of the x on one side. Now, my next step here is I have to take that positive 10, cancel it out on this side, and bring it over to the other side. So if I'm going to cancel out this positive 10, I need to do that by doing a minus 10. All right, so I do a minus 10 on that side. Got to do the same thing on the other side here. So minus 10 and a minus 10. With that, on this side, I'll still have that 5x. This positive 10 and this negative 10 will cancel out to become a 0 pair. So it's just going to be leaving in equals. And if I do that negative 5 and that negative 10 together, that's going to all told be a negative 15 when I am done. Now, at this point, what I'm going to have to do is to take both of these and divide them by 5 to solve for x. Now, the easiest way for me to do that is to do it using this type math button. So I'm going to click on that, and I'll click on this little open keyboard here, and I'm going to use the fractions here, okay? So I'm going to show you by doing 5x on the top, and I'm going to divide that by 5 here. Then I'm going to do a little arrow over. I'm going to click right next to it. I'm going to do equals, do another fraction, that a over b. I'm going to write that negative 15 that we had from there, and I'm going to put a 5 on the bottom of that as well. Now I'm done, so I'm going to do return, and that takes me out to the side. I'm going to do return again below here. Here, the 5 and the 5 will cancel each other out. That'll give me an x. Here, negative 15 divided by 5 is going to give me a negative 3 as my answer for my x value. So I'm halfway there. I've got the x now. Now what I have to do is pick one of these 2 equations to plug that number into to find my y. Guys, I'm always going to pick the equation that has less negative signs. This was a negative 2x and a negative 5, and I'm plugging in a negative 3. Forget that noise. I'm going to plug it in this top one. So y equals 3x plus 10. I'm going to leave a little bit of space there, and I'm going to say, okay, so now we have y equals 3, and I'm going to do parentheses. That negative 3 is what I'm going to put in these parentheses. Negative 3 plus 10. Now I just have to do some math, okay? So now we know that y equals 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Still have that plus 10. And negative 9 plus 10 is going to equal a positive 1. So now, to get my final answer for this, I need to write a point. Negative 3 is my x, so I'm going to do that one first. Do a comma. 1 is my y, so I'm going to do that second. Close the parentheses, and I am done with this. And then you're going to click submit. Sucker's going to get turned in, and I'm good to go for that one. Edit my response is what you do if you want to go back and fix things, but you can see all of your work here from the beginning of the first substitution all the way through. Listen to me when I tell you this. If you need to go back and step by step do this with your problem, but use the equations that they have here, fine. Pause it, go back, look at it, do your thing, come back to this video and go and do this. This is the way that you go about doing this. This is the way. Next, which actually is the button I'm going to click here. Next, now I got a problem here about identifying the solution to a system of equations from the graph. On the left is the graph of a system of equations, 2 lines here. What is the solution to the system? Okay, guys, there are 2 lines graphed. This is all of the solutions to the equation with the red line. This is all the solutions to the equation with the green line. The place where they intersect, that is the solution to this system. So that right there is a solution. I'm even going to draw a line down to say, okay, that is my value for the x. I'm going to do this line over here to say, okay, well, that is my value for the y. So over here, when I write it, the solution to this is that point. So I'm going to write x is the 1, so I'll do 1, comma, y is that 3. I'm going to do 3. So I will say 1, 3 is the solution because that is where the 2 lines cross. So they share that point. Boom. That is the perfect answer for this. You use whatever you want to of that. If you don't want to use it, fine. I don't care. Use what you want. But that's what I would use, okay? So I'm going to hit submit. Use any part of that you want to. But again, your graph is going to look different than this. It isn't going to be 1, 3. So don't use that solution, but use whatever solution you're going to get from the other one. Last but not least, I can create an equation from a graph. All right, look. We need a slope. We need a y-intercept. We need an equation. Okay, so let's do the slope of the y-intercept first, and we'll deal with this equation last. The y-intercept is what I always start with because it's the easiest. That is always your point right here where it crosses the y-axis. So my y-intercept is going to be 0, 1 because it's the point that we have right here. Now, if you just write the number 1, that will also be correct, but that's what we're looking at. Now we're going to talk about the slope. When we do a slope, we're going to use this little keypad here. It's going to be a fraction. Stupid keypad. Let's do that again. I got to do a fraction. Close the keypad. I'll open the keypad again. And I'm going to have to do a fraction here. So on the top is my change in y. On the bottom is my change in x. And because I know that, I got to sort of think about what's going to be happening here. And I'm going to make a couple triangles. So like, all right, we've got that. We've got that. So if I'm going to make my stair steps between points, this is what we're looking at, okay? If I look at this, it is going down, okay? So clearly, my change in y is going to be negative here, going down in this direction. If we count how many we go, 1, 2, it's the same here, it's the same here. We're going down 2 every time. So that means that my change in y is negative 2. So the top part of this is your change in y. I'm going to type in negative 2. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom. How many have I gone over here? Well, I'm going to the right. All right. Well, if I go to the right, that's positive. And each time I'm only going over the 1 time. So that is a positive 1, which means in the bottom of this, I'm going to have a 1. Now, I want you to understand, if you have this fraction, it's fine. But anytime that you have a number over 1, we can just keep that as the whole number negative 2 if you'd like to. That's totally fine. You can either use negative 2 over 1 or negative 2. Now, when we go down to this equation, I'm going to get rid of that for a minute. The equation is always y is equal to mx plus b. M is my slope, b is my y-intercept. So let's edit this here. The b is that 1. So I'm going to delete that and put a 1. So I know that it's plus 1. And the m is my slope. So I can either write that as the fraction negative 2 over 1. So negative 2 over 1x plus 1. That would be totally fine if you did that. Or if you wanted to, you could say y equals negative 2x. Oh, I got to do a negative. Negative 2x plus 1. Either of these is fine, whether you use the fraction or you use the whole number, they're both going to be fine. Then you'll submit that and it'll be fine. Again, whatever you're going to have is going to be different than this one, but it's going to have a y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis. So you'll have to put that here. It's going to have a slope where we're talking about our change in y over our change in x. So you'll have to put that here. And then you put them together here and y equals mx plus b. Y'all, I cannot imagine a more thorough way of going through how to do this. You've only got 3 problems. Do those and follow my directions that I did here, and you should destroy this quiz. So with that being said, stop my recording and let you guys take it.